What's up, everyone? I did not expect that I would be sitting here one-on-one with you guys ever again, but anything is possible. Here I am, right now. I have made the egregious mistake of once again sitting before this camera and making a video and saying whatever heinous verbiage comes to my brain. I don't really have a plan for this video other than explaining to you guys the circumstances for which I've been absent for quite some time now, with the exception of a few uploads stretched over several months from each other, I mean. And I don't really have a script or anything or a plan other than I'm going to essentially break up this video into two portions or two parts, two halves, where I'll explain why I have been absent from making videos on YouTube, live streaming, and so forth. And I will also explain why I have taken a permanent absence, most likely, from music, the music industry, mixing, mastering, producing, putting out essentially content altogether. But I'm going to start with YouTube first. So this video is going to be uncut, raw, whatever, insanely heinous and random words that come to my mind are going to make it into the final cut, which probably wasn't the best idea, but do I have the time to edit this video? No, I do not. So, why don't we get straight into it? I'll start with a preface of my background on YouTube. I had the dream ever since YouTube content creators really became a thing when I was a child. It was always my dream, to be that famous YouTuber. Growing up as a kid, it was like, motherfuckers watched Smosh, Stampy, all those Minecraft creators, all the famous YouTubers back when YouTube had that little fucking tiny ass app on the Android. It was like black, and I started making YouTube videos when I was, I'd like to say, in fourth grade. Long time ago. And I originally made these stupid fucking like science experiments with the kids who lived in my neighborhood. So we'd get these like I don't know, these websites that made some like, oh, like, here's how to make a grenade out of cornstarch or something. And it would literally just be us with a fucking with our phone like this, recording science experiments and whatever random activity we were gonna do throughout our neighborhood. And I had like all these videos of us doing stuff like that. I had a bunch of videos of like me as like an early elementary schooler playing Minecraft, where like this was before like we, at least on mobile, on Android, this is before we had things like easily accessible screen recorders. So it was quite literally, a tablet with Minecraft on it and me placing a phone in front of it like this and playing with my hands as the phone balanced on the floor with whatever I could keep it up using. And there were like, I want to say probably around like 50 videos on my channel that I can personally guarantee nobody watching this video has ever seen, because I ended up deleting them, I want to say, when I entered high school, because naturally, teenagers, there was that fear I had of like, oh, what if they see this, what if they see me acting a fool on camera playing Minecraft, because Minecraft was not cool when I was going into high school and middle school. No, not Minecraft. After that, though, my dreams of being a content creator did not die out. I I started making. This will mostly tie into like the music side of things, which I'll get into later. But I started learning how to produce a lot of those beats that I first made are gone, and there's more beats that were uploaded after that are still there. To this day, I like to keep them there, despite the fact that they are quite literally the most 0 out of 10 dog shit instrumentals that I think a human is possibly capable of making. But I kept them there just to highlight the progress that was made since then. Not that I've made any drastic improvements, but I think it is at least somewhat noticeable, from the like essentially auto-tuned queefs that were originally uploaded to the first beats I made on this channel to now. There's at least some difference. Either way, I first got into making like, one-on-one, like with the camera commentary videos when there was this random situation, school drama of some kid at school spreading false rumors about me. So I made a commentary video basically covering the whole thing for like 45 minutes. And I was like, okay, that felt good. Like, I explained everything I needed to explain. What else could I do? So I actually, from that moment, started making all these commentary videos saying stupid, really not well put together takes on camera that I would put out about like current events. Occasionally I'd tell like a story from my childhood or something. But that's how I got into, commentary content. I started doing, gaming stuff again. And like the coolest thing definitely, there's a lot of upsides, I was hesitant to do this video in particular. I could have done this video a year ago, or, right after YouTube demonetized me, after I started uploading. I could have done this video a while ago, but I've always had this, this like lingering fear, or this lingering idea that the ideas or the opinions that I put out in these videos, or the way I'm feeling about this given topic now, is solidified and preserved in time, or preserved through time, and could change in the future as I mature and learn new things. But and it has always been my fear that like I'll look at this video in the future and be like, okay, that was dumb, or I'd be hypercritical of myself, because that's already what I do now to my older videos. But I figured fuck it, like, I'm not gonna die, might as well do it anyways. The longer I wait, the more I'll have to say, and the longer the video will be. And to save some of your time, I figured I'd do it now, so I can just get it over with and spend as little time thinking about it as I can, right? But before I go into all of the horse shit, I figure I'll go over the upsides, the many upsides of being on YouTube, right? Because, like I said, it was my dream since a child to be able to make content for a living, right? And it was fun while I did it. I eventually, like, mixing music and YouTube both together, like, I definitely found something. That was the first time I was passionate about something. It was the first time I really, like, enjoyed putting extenuous amounts of effort into things, and seeing the finished product, and seeing like the people who would react both positively and negatively from it. And there were a lot of upsides of being on YouTube, for example, I mean, the main one I can think of is all the connections and the friendships I made along the way, the people that I never would have met or know today if it weren't for uploading content on YouTube. The people I've interviewed, the people that have guest have been guests on on the podcast we used to run. The people who, just the random connections I made, like I have a very close friend of mine now, named Jaden, and the way we met is that he stole one of my type beats that I uploaded onto YouTube, and I was like, damn, this shit actually sounds fire, because like he made a song with it, but he just didn't tell me until he tagged me on the song on I believe it was New Year's of 2020. No, New Year's of 2019. He tagged me in this song. He had just uploaded it on New Year's, like at midnight, and he had stolen my beat without asking. And I was about to be like, what the fuck, bro? But I listened to it and it was hard. And we started talking, we started collaborating, we started, working. I interviewed him on my YouTube channel. I've produced countless beats for him since. We have a personal friendship, of course. Stuff like that, there's countless amount of scenarios like that where just the people I've met, my journey on YouTube have been some very, very great people that I'm glad I met. Like, obviously, if I went back, I would do everything the same on YouTube, despite all the mistakes that were made production-wise and, quality-wise and stuff. I would do everything the same because I wouldn't want to risk, not meeting those people, which is great. And another thing is the podcast. The podcast was definitely one of my top highlights of being on YouTube. Because it's a fantasy of a lot of people. It's kind of like a running meme almost between friend groups of, like starting a podcast and the potential ramifications of doing so. Well, we've definitely felt those. Me and a group of, close friends since middle school, we decided when COVID started to start a podcast where we essentially would go over current events, talk about them, provide very shitty takes about them. But it was actually kind of interesting to see the very different demographics that we came from that led us to having very different beliefs based on those current events, and the comedic undertone behind all of it was they made it very relaxed, but also very fun to watch. The podcast didn't nearly get as much attention as my main channel did, but I will say running the podcast, not only co-hosting the podcast, but also running the audio, background technical nonsense of the podcast was also very fun and educational because I learned as I went, the amount of fun and funny and hilarious moments we had on the podcast is something that I think all of us will cherish forever. And I'll obviously get into it later, how the podcast ended up crashing and burning. But it was definitely legendary while it lasted. Another upside of YouTube was the element of finally being able to monetize things. I've obviously, while I never have or will claim to be an altruistic person, I have never been in it for the money, but it definitely was cool to see hours and hours and days of working on a video nonstop. It was definitely very very relieving and very rewarding to see that pay off monetarily, because although I did eventually end up being demonetized for reasons I'll get into later, being that step closer and closer each day to being able to do content full time, which never came into fruition, but the steps that got me closer and closer to that definitely motivated me to keep creating. I think that was one of the reasons I stopped making videos every single day and following that schedule. was the lack of monetization that was taken away from me. The monetization aspect definitely made a big impact, but that's a whole segment of this video I'll get into much later. Another thing was all of the different various media related skills, such as, you know, recording and especially editing videos that I had zero experience with before YouTube. Before, you know, the commentary video that one of the first videos I edited, like legitimately like sat down and thoroughly edited for hours, was the Caretaker video, where I listened to the 8-hour album by the Caretaker about essentially around the experience of dementia. And I remember, you know, getting the green screen for it, and like clearing out the entire room to be able to set the green screen up at a distance to record it. Like, so much effort went into that video, and looking back at it, that shit's like a 2 out of 10 video, bro. But still, like all the trials and errors, all of the videography skills I was able to obtain from working on YouTube and being motivated to get better, to make better YouTube videos, is definitely something that I cherish. You know, I don't think that I'd even be able to set up the equipment that I'm using right now, and the microphone and OBS and the video that I may have to put this into later to edit it if I say something that I will eventually regret saying in the future, but we'll see. All those skills are even applicable outside of YouTube as well, as I've, you know, edited multiple music videos now for artists that are out there that not a lot of people know about. You know, things like that. I've gained a serious amount of like media skills, obviously on with video, but also with music, which I'll talk about in the second half of the video. But YouTube offered definitely a like sense of completion, a sense of like accomplishment. You know, when you sit there recording a video for 3 hours to get like half an hour of edited footage down, maybe like 15 minutes, sitting down, editing each clip on your own. Like I never hired anybody else to edit or anything. Did everything on my own, essentially. But the hours and hours and hours and hours that went into, you know, all the steps of content creation, it was definitely really cool seeing that, you know, that final product, you know, being able to work on something and complete it, and feel the like reactions of people and the feedback of people watching it, was definitely great. And like a lot of those videos, especially the ones that reached the most people, ended up helping a lot of people. You know, I still look at the comments on the Ronnie Coleman video, which ended up being a very big video in the context of the channel's background and everything. And actually, one of the bigger reasons the channel's actually ended, believe it or not, which I'll of course get into, but all the people who, you know, have said that they've hit PRs while listening to that video and things like that, and all the you know, all the comments like that. And like the other thing is, like, being on YouTube was really the only time where I ever really like had fun playing video games, because I'm nowhere near like a gamer, you know. I've played Madden here and there, and I played GTA here and there like years ago, but the only time I've really like had fun playing video games was when, you know, we'd hop on like the podcast stream or something, or we'd hop on like fucking some dumbass game that I would never play nowadays, or by myself even back then, like, you know, like when we would play Among Us, or I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure, yeah, me and Johnny were playing GTA Online back then. Whereas, like, I would never be able to enjoy doing that now because it would just feel like such a waste of time. But it was not a waste of time when I was doing it, with those people on stream making content and just having fun. Even if we weren't making content, it still would have been fun. But there, at the end of the day, not everything ends up being sunshine and rainbows. And there were definitely there ended up being definitely a much longer list and a more severely debilitating list of reasons why I just couldn't be on YouTube anymore. At least not consistently. Obviously, the biggest kicker, which I'd like to think isn't the biggest issue, but it definitely was a big one, being completely honest. Like, I'm going to be fully transparent. The demonetization aspect really kicked me in the dick, because I was starting to make a pretty good amount of money every month off of YouTube. It never exceeded what I was making working full time, but it was definitely something that helped. It was definitely something that, was nice, saving up. I bought my first car with the money I made from YouTube that I put off to the side. And being demonetized was an entire process that, at the end of the day, as much as on YouTube's end, there was definitely errors. There was definitely a lot of lack of human review, where if it was like a real human being looking at my channel, I do not think that I would be demonetized to this day. But at the end of the day, I have to take my own accountability, in that when I uploaded the videos that I did that led me to get demonetized, at the end of the day, I was the one who uploaded them. I never would have been able to predict that those videos would have got my channel demonetized, because it's nothing like people may be thinking. There was no community guidelines violations or anything. It was no like lewd or like dark humor or anything like that. For those who haven't seen the 2 videos I've made on it already, my entire channel, not just like a video or two, like the whole channel itself was removed from being eligible to monetize any of my videos for reused content. And as most of you would probably be able to assert, that is insane, because I, obviously sit in front of the camera like I am right now and talk one-on-one. Like, there's not much more original you can get with that. Like, I'm recording myself on my own equipment. I edit my own videos and everything. But what ended up happening, what I can only assume, and I'm like 99% sure this is why, was because of the Ronnie Coleman video, which I never in a million years thought would become popular. I literally just put it together while I was most of the videos I do, I edit on my computer in like a video editing software. But the Ronnie Coleman video is one of the very few videos where I was literally just sitting on my girlfriend at the time's couch and just put it together in some random iPhone video editing app, and just uploaded it onto YouTube and titled it Ronnie Coleman Screaming for 4 hours. I had no idea that video would get even more than like 100 views, and right now it's sitting at 5 million. And I think only because the video became so popular did they deem that video to be reused content. At least that's what I'm assuming that they're looking at. It's not what I thought at first, but being that the video is so popular and that the actual footage in that video is one of the only videos on my channel where I was not the one who recorded that footage, obviously, because I don't even think I was alive when it was recorded. I just compiled the footage together into kind of like a meme compilation. But that video is essentially the sole reason my entire channel got demonetized, because I had the option of deleting the videos that YouTube deemed to fit the description of reused content. And of course, YouTube being the lovely platform that it is, they do not highlight or give you a list of the videos that they're referring to that they want you to take down. They just say that you can take down the content. They don't specify which videos caused that decision. They just tell you can take it down. And I actually, I ended up having to take down a lot of videos where I suspected maybe like a picture I put in the background, like a stock image or something, could have, flagged YouTube's robots, or, maybe some background, some copyright-free background music could have like accidentally flagged them. I ended up taking down a lot of very important videos that were very important to me, videos that had a lot of the more popular videos on the channel that had hundreds of thousands of views, videos that shaped the channel in a lot of ways, videos that took a lot of effort. I ended up having to delete entirely because I thought that those were the videos that YouTube was worried about. And once I deleted those videos, lo and behold, I still reapply every month, even though I know they're not going to accept it, just for the fuck of it. But even after deleting all those videos, YouTube still said no. Like, your channel is still reused content, all of it. Apparently all of it. Apparently one video being reused content means they can't just demonetize that one video. It has to be my entire channel. And there was like a almost hour-long video that took me almost a month to make about the NFL that I had to delete. There was, albums I had to delete. There was a music video that I had a hand in editing that I had to remove. And it really sucked that like a lot of the more popular videos, that were really felt like huge milestones back then. As young as I was, when you see a video surpass even 1,000 views, it's like a huge deal. And a lot of those videos were at like hundreds of thousands of views. And I had to just risk deleting them and ended up getting nothing in return. And seeing the Ronnie Coleman video reach as many people as it had, I had the option of deleting the Ronnie Coleman video from the internet, because no, privating or unlisting the videos is not an option. I had the choice. I could have either deleted the Ronnie Coleman video and then I'd be able to monetize my entire channel, or I keep the Ronnie Coleman video up and I'm never going to be able to make money from YouTube ever again. And I chose, it was a decision that was hard to make, but I chose to keep the Ronnie Coleman video up, specifically because of the comments people left on that video, the immense amount of positivity it's brought people, the TikToks I've seen people make with, that video. As much as I despise of TikTok, it still was cool to see how many corners of the internet that video made it onto, and all the people that, use it to motivate themselves to do better in the gym, all across the board. Like that video is, the angel and the devil on my shoulder, in that it's, it's a video I put together. It got 5 million views. And that's something that, as a kid sitting in my room making Minecraft videos to 0 viewers, if you ever told me that I would make a video one day that had 5 million views, let alone more than 1,000, I don't think I would believe you. And at the same time, that video is single-handedly the reason, not the reason, but one of the reasons, one of the biggest reasons why I stopped being able to make content every single day. Because there was no incentive other than, making 100 videos, 99 of which got like 100 views and maybe one of which got a little more, but getting no compensation for that really led to, if there was more time in the day, I would do it, but working full time and simultaneously attending university full time, it was just not even a tertiary like task in my mind to make YouTube videos anymore because of how many responsibilities I had to take care of. Well, it's a lot more complicated than that, which I will elaborate on, but there's kind of like an order of topics, some of which that overlap each other that I'm trying to go over here. But what else? Other than demonetization, you know, there are a lot of reasons. Demonetization was definitely a big one. But I would also highlight like this general idea of the fact that, like, especially growing up, like 17, 18, 19 or whatever, my mind was kind of like a storm where, you know, I would spend so many mental hours just thinking and perseverating on these project ideas, being up until 4 a.m., just thinking and like writing down in the notes app all these like ideas of scripts and frameworks for video ideas. And another byproduct of the way my mind thinks about things, I would always look back on old videos and absolutely hate them. Even today, I do the same thing where I look back at some of my older commentary videos and I don't enjoy a single second of it. I truly, honestly, I hate hearing myself talk on camera. As much as I said, I love seeing like, you know, the final product of videos or anything. Sometimes I just kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Especially the older videos. And it was kind of like this perfectionist in a bad way element where there was the good and the bad of this kind of like perseveration about these videos, where it was cool to have this element of like wanting to improve and everything, but it led me to deleting a lot of videos that I regret deleting, editing parts out of videos that I regret editing out, which I can't undo now. And like one thing that, when I'm able to think rationally about things, I really do like the element of YouTube where I'm able to see my journey through time of how like I've matured as far as my viewpoints go and my ability to articulate arguments and dissect current events or, you know, different talking points from other people, and able to present them well in a video and edit them well in a video, and being able to see the way that I've been able to improve in that aspect has been hindered a little bit because of some of the older stuff I've deleted. I would guess that since I started this channel in, I believe, 2014, I want to say there's around 200 videos from 2014 until now that have been completely deleted, which is sad. If I could bring those videos back, even just privately, so I could still see them, I would, and with the snap of my finger. But like I said, there was upsides and downsides to that, because I'm not a perfectionist in very many areas. I would say I'm only a perfectionist when it comes to those YouTube videos and stuff, and like my job, not really anything else. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but the amount of, you know, stuff that was wiped from my channel does kind of suck. And not only that, but even just sitting there thinking for hours and hours and hours about how bad these videos are, contemplating what I should do to delete videos, or, you know, sitting there thinking for hours and hours and hours, losing sleep, thinking about video ideas and stuff. It definitely was nice getting a consistent 8 hours of sleep every night after I just put the YouTube stuff to rest, which is another, downside to YouTube was just the amount of not the amount of time of physical hours that went into editing and everything, and video production, but the mental amount of hours that went into preparing, because there was a lot more mental hours before I even hit record that would take place. Especially, also planning a podcast on the side and doing music on the side and, producing for people and mixing for people and mastering for people on the side, all those different things and roles I fulfilled, which I don't regret doing at all, but it was definitely like a big like mental load taken off to where I could finally focus on things that mattered a lot more, to be completely honest. Short form content is another one. Short form content is literally Satan. Like, the emergence of short form content is something that I think has completely dismantled not only YouTube, but social media, content creation, art, almost any medium of consuming content has been ruined by the cancer that is short form content. TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts. All these platforms have so like expertly, almost robotically taken advantage of human psychology in such a way to where these short form content apps and algorithms grab our attention and have almost cultivated a world now that reinforces the short attention span in such a way to where short form content is really the leading way content is, consumed now. I will say, doom scrolling is what a lot of people talk about. We've gone in the past half a decade from, people being able to really sit through a whole entire video to a point where, people really only have like 5-second attention spans, if that, like, where if your TikTok or your reel doesn't grab their attention within like the amount of time it takes to breathe fucking air into their lungs, they're swiping on to the next thing, because there's no cost to swiping away these videos. It's all about this short-term stimulus that is constantly trying to be satiated, and can't be fully satiated by long-form content such as this. I can confidently say that if I released this video 5 years ago, the amount of people that made it to this very time in the video would be probably 20 times more than it is today. And if you have made it this far, you either care way too much about me, which is probably not the case, or you have a stunningly long attention span that is a lot greater than the average person. And short form content obviously had its own effects on attention span, but is also like the least profitable form of content for the small creator. Because if I get 5 million views on a regular video that I upload onto YouTube, that's potentially thousands of dollars. If I get 5 million views on one YouTube short or like a TikTok, I don't think personally that would breach $100. I could be wrong. Obviously, I haven't uploaded any shorts on my channel. I'm not an expert on shorts, but from what I've heard, from what I've seen, the analytics of money people make off of short form content, it doesn't seem to have the best interest of the creator at heart. It just seems to be this method of keeping people on your platform for as long as possible. And like, as far as this, short attention span thing goes, it really forces the creator to lose a sense of self. in order to maximize their own success, to where you have to be as flashy and as entertaining as possible, and you really lose an element of authenticity when you do that. When you have all the, these, you try your hardest to reel people in with these bright, stupid fucking thumbnails and this flashy editing, like these big animated fake gestures, being like as large and animated as possible to keep, the stupid fucking TikToks that have the person talking at the top with the Subway Surfers shit at the bottom to keep people, reeled in. It's stuff like that that really, you really have to lose a great a great portion of your dignity in order to become successful nowadays, because I mean, unless you're really lucky. Like, I would say there are creators out there who have been able to maintain their authenticity, like, Charlie, Moist Critical, but even that's like kind of the only one I can think of right now. I mean, obviously I'm not sitting here meditating on it, but from the top of my head, that's the only really person I can think of who seems really authentic and original and hasn't really given in. I mean, even he uploads shorts, but either way, seeing short form content be the most guaranteed path to success, but also the most painful path, and path that I was the most unwilling to go down in order to become successful, was something that kind of sucked. It's kind of like, having to sell your soul to the devil in order to become popular, which was a shame, and another thing that ended YouTube for me was, the aspect of time, like I kind of went into already, where like I said, YouTube was the first time that I really felt passion towards creating something, and that definitely did go away after some time. But I never before, when I was doing YouTube, did I think I could be as passionate about something as I am now in my line of work. I found a career almost 3 years ago in the field of behavioral therapy, and that is something that I would not trade for anything. You could, my videos could make 5 million views every single day, and I still would probably, no, I would definitely not trade the job I have now for that. The culmination of having a new career, which, first off, it's not like a job that you don't want to go to, it is a lot of hours, like maybe a 50-hour work week or something like that. So we're, working full time, also going to university full time, at the same time, somehow being able to work that into the schedule, doing other things, like obviously having to consistently go to the gym, train martial arts here and there when I'm able to. There really just wasn't any, and still isn't any, time for YouTube. Like, even when I'm making this right now, it's the middle of the night, because there really is no time in the day. Another thing with that is that, like, as somebody who's driven towards success, and maximizing success, like, sleep is a non-negotiable. Obviously, there are exceptions, but if I were to do YouTube, it would have to be in a scenario in which I would get a lot less sleep, because I would be forced to, make content in the middle of the night, which is not something I'm trying to do. And, like, to be real, like, one of the biggest things that I, like, sat back and realized was that, like, nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, the world, and I'm totally fine with this. Like, this is not some kind of, like, self-pity moment, but the world would be exactly the same if my channel never existed, you know? The thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that I put into doing content, I really feel like the only people that was really rewarding to was me and the friends that I made content with. At the end of the day, like, nobody really cares. Like, I could delete this channel now and probably less than 100 people, less than 25 people would probably notice. You know, I have some very close followers that I do notice. Those people do not go unnoticed, but to be real, like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Like, I feel like putting hours into at the end of the day, making pixels on a fucking screen that people sit there and waste their time watching. Like, you could be doing so many other productive things right now than watching this video, but yet here you are, if you were even here. And I mean, so could I, but like, fuck. Like, damn. I just fucking sexually molested my floor. Okay. Anyway, like, you could be putting hours into other things, and like, I definitely, the sense of accomplishment I felt making these YouTube videos, which, like I said, at the end of the day are just pixels on a screen, frames in a video, you know, making a point on the internet, or being able to articulate an argument well in some podcast episode. At the end of the day, none of that even makes a dent in the sense of accomplishment that you feel when you actually help a human being, like in the line of work that I am in now. And I never felt that until I was able to step away from YouTube and step toward a field where I'm in behavioral therapy, special education settings. And by no means am I trying to like gloat here, like, oh, I found something better. Because at the end of the day, like, in that line of work, I'm probably replaceable as well, but only to a certain extent, you know. There's definitely a lot of individualization and like very specific combinations of the temperament between different people that lead to specific results in a line of work such as behavioral therapy. So being able to step back from YouTube and also observe like the opportunity cost of doing YouTube, you know, because like every second that I spent doing YouTube is seconds that I could spend working even a minimum wage job, which I'm nowhere close to. Even at a minimum wage job, I would be making so many times more money than I made from YouTube that it isn't even like comparable on a graph. Like the line would just go like this. The opportunity cost of, you know, prioritizing YouTube was so great, with also, you know, such a low chance of future reward, that it just really wasn't worth it. And what will the future of the channel look like? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to refrain from boring, you know, everybody with like, oh, what am I doing nowadays? Like what is my job? Like what am I doing in school? What are my plans? Because at the end of the day, my plans don't matter to anybody, nor should they, other than myself. And that's not a complaint by any means. That's just being self-aware. However, in the future, you know, this by no means will be the last video on the channel. All right, like, I will upload again. I do always end up getting some fucking stupid ass idea to make some video, like the chocolate milk tier list video. Every once in a while, there will be uploads here and there, but I can almost guarantee, you know, unplanned things happen all the time. In fact, almost every major, you know, life event that happens in a person's lifespan is unplanned. But I'm almost 100% sure that there will never be a time in the future where I will upload as much as I was before, like every other day, or consistently at least. Um, and even things like ending the podcast. We still come back here and there for like a reunion episode. We still meet up here and there. Like, by no means when the podcast ended did we have any bad blood. We're still like best friends that I see almost like 3 times a week. It was just the podcast itself that ended. So there's everyone's in good spirits there. We'll always get back, and make a video or two here and there, maybe once or twice a year, whenever we can sort out the free time to do so. Because like a big aspect of at least the podcast ending was everyone just getting older. Like we started in COVID when we were in high school. We had all this free time on our hands after school, and people, they get jobs. They go into school. They gain responsibilities. They move out. They have bills to pay. Johnny, the actual like founder of the podcast that we did, is engaged now. So we're gonna be going to his wedding sometime this year. But that's all I could really say about YouTube. And now there's the entire aspect of the music industry, which is no more fun than YouTube was. Music was a lot different than YouTube was. I had a lot of roles in music, beyond the fact that I obviously had my solo material, the albums that I did eventually release. That was nowhere near my main focus. My largest role was as an engineer, mixing and mastering songs for other people. Blue Period album by Corbin Baxter. The whole album, except for 1 or 2 songs on there, the whole album's mixed and mastered by me. Like mixing and mastering was like my main thing, and then there was always producing beats. There was I edited music videos for people. I even made cover art for albums for people. Collaborations between me and other people can be found nearly anywhere if you look hard enough on the underground, on the internet, on streaming platforms and stuff. But out of all the roles, like for solo material and producing and everything, like the biggest thing that I think I had the most passion for, and the biggest, I don't like to use the word like talent, but the thing I was the best at was the mixing and the mastering part, the engineering. That was something that I'm actually kind of sad I did let slip. Like, I can't really say I miss sitting in front of the screen and making YouTube videos all day, but I definitely do miss being in the studio with all those people and mixing and mastering and engineering and stuff and collaborating with people, which is sad. But there's reasons behind it. There definitely is. There's so many silver linings to music, the successes. The song, I made a song with Danny Towers that got tens of thousands of, streams. And it ended up on a song with Lil B. I collaborated with, over 100 people in my time making music and being throughout the music industry and stuff. And, my biggest presence in the music industry was like implicit behind the scenes, working on stuff where you don't really get credited in the title. Like I said, like with mixing and mastering and engineering, recording, being a recording engineer as well, recording songs for people, just being on as many sides of song production as I could was one of my priorities. Just getting as diverse of an experience as I could with the music making process was something that I did almost as long as I did YouTube. Like I started YouTube in 2014. I started learning how to make music in 2015. And even before 2014, I was learning how to like play instruments, the guitar, the keyboard, which I have right here. I played at one point I was able to play like the trumpet, the trombone, any percussion, drum, timpani, multi instrumentalist, and I let almost all that go, probably except the keyboard, the piano. But music was always, even before YouTube was a thing, music was always like in my veins. Don't mean to sound corny. But yeah, there were a lot of silver linings with doing music. Like I said with YouTube, the people I met collaborating, being not only being in the studio in person, but also the people I met online, people I was able to collaborate with over over Discord calls. Like I said, my friend Jaden that I met from him stealing my beat, we've collaborated till this day. I also do want to make one thing clear as far as music goes. I am going to make one more album, which is going to be my last album. I don't know when. It could be a year from now. It could be 10 years from now. But there will be one more album that I do release. And it'll be the album that I spend the most time and effort on. I'll have to, do a lot of practice getting things back to the way they were when I was really doing music a lot. I'm gonna have to brush up on all my skill and everything, which is gonna take a long time. But there will be one more album. I'm not leaving the music industry without a magnum opus, if you will. But yeah, like even above YouTube, doing the music was a huge part of my life. Is still there to this day. Like the people I did music with are people I'm still close with, and I still mess around with DAWs here and there just to see if I've lost my touch, which I don't think I have, which is good. Definitely not where I once was, being able to operate the whole entire studio and set it up and everything. But a lot of the things that ended me doing music also had to do with some of the similar issues I was having with YouTube. You definitely could make an entire Venn diagram of stuff that applied to both YouTube and music and the different ones. But the element of perfectionism, and the hypercritical components of the prototype musician I was definitely not exempt from. I would, even when I was making a song, there would be somewhere like 70 to 100 drafts of me just tweaking. I mean, this is pretty normal, but still is worth talking about. Just tweaking a knob ever so slightly, and making draft after draft after draft, listening to the same 5 seconds of a song quite literally 100 times in a row to see just what was wrong with it, what can be better, all these different layers, recording the same vocal takes hundreds and hundreds of times, having all these different takes and demos, and spending up to a month or two on a song that was a minute and a half long, only for me to hate it afterwards, when I actually end up uploading it, listening it today. So there's some songs where I'm like, why was that released to the public? But I kind of have made myself a rule where I'm not going to delete anything anymore, because I almost always end up regretting it afterward. But that was definitely something that took a toll. My mental health has never been bad per se, but it definitely put a dent in it, so to speak. And one completely separate thing was that the music industry is, bluntly put, it's just filled with horrible people and horrible corporations and horrible entities, horrible groups, horrible practices, horrible ethics. and I just had so many bad experiences with, artists who were just scammers, and record labels ripping me off, and collaborators falling short, and especially the label part. Like the every single time I got into some exclusive deal with a record label or a release, fuck, whatever it's called, a record label. Every time that happened, it never ended well, which is why at the end of everything, I was able to, release music through record labels, and at the end of the day, once all that was said and done, I just fucking got DistroKid, bro, and released music on that, because I was not trying to deal with record labels anymore. And DistroKid is another thing that I will talk about shortly, but the like, it was just the nature of the music industry. Back in the very beginning of college, when I'm not anymore, but I was going for a digital audio degree, and there was these classes you had to take about the music industry, and just the heinous shit that, goes into that industry, and the things that take place in order for somebody to become successful. In behind the people who are successful, and the groups that are successful, and the big, humongous conglomerate companies that basically control the entire music industry as a whole. It definitely repelled me away a little bit. And, as I said, there was, new career, new passions, new priorities. But, like, in the music industry, especially the underground music industry, with all these new artists that are trying to come up nowadays, hard work, like real hard work and talent, is not rewarded. In fact, like 99% of everything is based on luck or selling out to embrace, like I said, this short attention span, just to embrace the catchy or the mainstream, whatever's going to get on the radio, return on investment with something like music, putting hours and hours and days and weeks and months into making these songs, when you're seeing other people severely lacking in quality blowing up because they had this 5-second clip of a song go viral on TikTok, can be very disheartening. And like I said, the opportunity cost of working on music with that in the background is very shitty. The oversaturation of the music market, because of specifically things like DistroKid, these services where anybody can come in and put whatever music they want to onto the internet, is something that was not a thing 10 years ago, and definitely has its upsides by embracing, creativity and allowing small artists to be able to get their stuff out there. But DistroKid, even SoundCloud, I think, while something like SoundCloud definitely had its era in history that I'm obviously happy happened, it has led to this oversaturation of artists, where now you are one artist in a crowd of literally millions of people trying to do the exact same thing as you. People who have more money, more talent, more resources, more time, more connections, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, the likelihood of success in the music industry decreases every single day because of the amount of stuff that is being able to be put on Spotify and Apple Music and so forth now, because of things like DistroKid. And as I said, there are upsides to DistroKid, but there's also a lot of downsides. I use DistroKid, but I don't use it because it's the only way for me to upload music. I use it because I was going through record labels that I had deals with, exclusive deals with, to do my music, and once those ended, because of the way that those record labels had treated me, I resorted to my last resort, which was DistroKid. Not proud of it, but it is what it is. And like another thing about music is like music was something I did specifically just like for the people who enjoyed it, you know, and also the people who were able to obviously provide me with criticism. But I really like, I kind of lost this idea I had. I didn't really realize it towards the end, but like music wise, celebrity wise, once I got to like the age of high school, because you know every kid wants to be like, you know, like a famous fucking YouTuber or whatever. But once I got to the age of like being a high school freshman, I kind of realized like recently, towards the end of doing music, that like I never really want to be famous. Like the idea of walking outside and having somebody approach me on the street who recognizes me, I am so fucking happy that's never happened, because I do not be talking to people in public, dog. Like, I do not want to be famous even in the slightest, like, whether it be fucking paparazzi or one person walking up to me. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be a dick to anybody, but, like, you know what I mean. Like, the idea of fame is a lot different than the idea of somebody who genuinely appreciates your work and, you know, they're excited by your presence. They're excited to meet you. That's a lot different than fame. But I don't really know what I'm trying to get at. Just the idea that I never really want to be famous, you know, and like doing music, I think a lot of people just want to blow up, you know. Of course, I want people to listen to my music and I want people to enjoy it, because that's what music is for, you know. It's for the experience. It's for the soul. But the idea of beyond people enjoying it and people appreciating it, the idea of like being potential, obviously the likelihood is next to zero, but the idea of being famous is something that kind of like repels me a little bit. I definitely did when I started doing music. Want to like, you know, blow up. But, you know, even if I did want to blow up, I did start to get more realistic as I got older. Like, it's not going to happen, man. This like childhood dream of being this famous, you know, whatever it is, singer, rapper, songwriter, producer, you start to realize, you know, you start to be able to analyze probability in a realistic way, and it kind of wakes you up to like, okay, I actually have to find something else, at least as a backup, but probably something else entirely. I don't even know what I'm rambling about at this point. I'm gonna kind of stop before I start saying things, probably have already, but start saying things that are dumb. Like I said, I've just been rambling this whole time. As far as, you know, YouTube and music go, it's not the end of everything, but it's the end of consistency. Because I have an obligation to fully attend to the other things in my life that I have found passions for, which is comes at the cost of not being able to do stuff like this. But ladies and gentlemen, don't know when the next time I will be in front of this camera is, if it ever happens again. I will be on YouTube doing some type of stupid fucking video sometime soon. But in the meantime, I wish you all the best. I hope you guys found at least some form of enjoyment by my channel. You know, go back and look at the old videos. Maybe it'll Maybe it'll bring back some memories, because it definitely does when I look at them. But that might just be me. Anyways, it was great making content for you guys, and I definitely look forward to being here for, the foreseeable future, and checking in every once in a while with a new video. But I will see you all next time.